Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We are your hosts, David O.
And Eric B.
Today we are joined by our very special guest, Brianna. How are you doing today?
Great. How about yourself?
Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
Where are you from, Brianna?
I am from
Nobody asked you, Eric.
California.
Awesome. So, when were you first introduced to recovery?
I was back in high school. Yeah, I was put into juvenile hall a lot placed in juvenile hall a lot as a minor. Yeah, and so
Nice.
I had to go in and out of recovery from there for a while. And
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I guess cool.
It is what it is.
I wish I would have gone straight into rehabilitation as opposed to a juvenile delinquent center in a sense.
Yeah, probably. All right.
Yeah.
Well, with all that out of the way, we're going to turn it over to you to share your story with us. So, take it away.
Okay, so growing up, both of my parents were both alcoholics, separated. They had never been together. My mother was the drinker who could have one sip and switch, just like that. I know we all have either family members or friends or ourselves that are like that. And my father was
What do you mean?
alcoholic who.
What do you mean by that?
Just you can have just a drink and just automatically switch into a different person. They talk about it in the about the Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And my father was the opposite. He was very fun to be around when he was drinking, and just the life of the party in a sense. But not drinking, he just was super miserable if he didn't have alcohol in the system. So I grew up around that a lot, and let's see, I started drinking. I think I had my first drink actually in kindergarten, which was more
Whoa.
my sister. Yeah, my sister was trying it for her. My older sister, who was 8 years older than me, was trying it for her first time. Or it was beer, and I tried it, and I was like, oh, that tastes like honey, kind of a thing, which should have been my first red flag.
A little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I was surrounded around my mom was getting married a lot. She's been married multiple times, so I was around alcoholic men, and I eventually decided to do my own thing when I got into high school, when I started hanging out with all the punk rockers and the hip hoppers, whatever you want to say. And
What was your favorite punk rock band?
my favorite, I would have to say Black Flag. Back in the day.
Good choice.
But so, yes, I got into that scene and went head first rather quickly. And I got into drugs. I started using drugs. I went, I had my first drink of alcohol when I was really young, but didn't really start drinking until after. I went straight into methamphetamine.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly,
yeah. We get that a lot from out in California.
Yeah, it was introduced to me oh, it's going to be fun. It'll make you skinny. All of it. I was like, oh, okay, for sure. Sounds like
That was one of the selling points? That was one of the selling points for it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucked up. So I decided to do it, and before I knew it, I was hooked. And I was stealing money from my dad because he was drunk and he wouldn't remember how much money he had in his wallet anyways. So I was like, well, yep. So that was going on for a while until I started running away and vandalizing and getting into trouble. And so that's when I started going in and out of juvenile hall. And I was looking at my last sentence. It was my last sentence, and I was getting either YA, which was a year and a half in YA, which is a placement home. I mean, not YA. I was going into a placement home, and then I asked for boot camp and everything, and they gave me boot camp. But if I got into trouble again, I was looking at juvenile life, which was to 25 in YA. That's when I decided I was going to possibly stop, because I didn't stop using directly after. And I had met my husband, or my late husband. He passed away. But I had met my husband. Sorry. Thank you. And he actually helped me get sober. And I'll be celebrating sobriety off of methamphetamine on 4th of July for 13 years now, I think. Awesome. 13 or 14. I kind of lost count after 10, but... So that was going on for a while, and then my husband, after we got married in 2009, February 14th, 2009, and he passed away 8 months later in a car accident. And from there on out, I went into a really, really bad depression of just like drinking a ton. Everyone thought I was going to relapse off of methamphetamines, which didn't happen. But I just went straight into alcohol, like so bad. I was like fighting my best friends and just acting a fool, you know. I didn't hurt anyone. Luckily. But that was going on for a while, and then I eventually, a few years later, I ended up getting pregnant. I have a beautiful baby daughter now. But I had stopped drinking, obviously, when I was pregnant, and I got out, like, once I gave birth to her, I wasn't drinking just yet, but it was like, once she got to the age of like not having to breastfeed anymore, I started drinking, and I was going out on weekends and like getting right back into this pattern that I had, and I knew that wasn't what I wanted. Like, that's when I started stepping into program. It's like, this isn't, and I don't know. I want to say that my daughter was the catalyst to that, but I also got sick of feeling like I was going to be my mother or my parents. I didn't want that for my child. So I just like, I remember asking one of my friends to go to an AA meeting with me, and like we had walked in together and they weren't having a meeting. So then I was like, oh, well, I guess that's my sign. And like we went out and went drinking. And then maybe like a year later, he ended up actually going into the program and was in for like 3 years. And then I was just like, I need to go. Like, it's that time. And we went, and seriously, I met some of the best people ever in program, and just like the stories that like help you. I don't know. It's just the strength that you see from people. And like, even if like they're newcomers, it's just the strength to have to walk into those doors says a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, it's heavy. It gets really heavy in those rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was in program for about a year and a half, and I eventually stopped going. I can't really say exactly why I stopped going, but I think it was more just like the drama that was going on at the clickiness and the drama that happens sometimes at places.
Yep.
Yeah. And I currently drink. I don't drink like I used to, and I know that they talk about that, like, or hats off to those that can, or what, I can't remember exactly the words, but I started having to find things that were my creative outlets, or that would help me stay sober, as opposed to, like, I know like meetings work for people, and I just needed a creative outlet. So I started finding things that I really loved that I knew I could not do intoxicated. Like, there was absolutely no way. And those are the things that have like helped me stay sober through my alcoholism. and my drug abuse, because I have used drugs in the past and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's interesting, and now I like make art related to alcoholism and like what growing up with alcoholics is like. And yeah, and things and
heavy at times.
Yeah. It is. Like when I first released everything, I started crying because it was just like you become so vulnerable releasing things like that, and just even sharing stories. It's like a vulnerable state that you're in, and you're opening up to people.
Yeah. All right. Well, we definitely have some questions for you. Would you like to start, or would you like me to start, Eric?
You can start, David. I started last time.
All right. I want to jump straight to like the art, because Eric's an artist. I am a collage artist. So I want to know, first of all, what kind of art do you do? Like, what's your main medium?
I use spray paint.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I use spray paint. On like glass bottles and wood. So there's like some mixed media in there, but my main medium is spray paint.
Awesome. So how does art help you in your recovery? Like, how does it really keep you centered and really how does it feed your spirit?
I started like, there's something inside of me that needs to come out. I think this is like for most people or artists in general. And it's like it's that deeper, darker area or that corner of your soul. And I didn't realize how much was built up inside of me that I wasn't releasing. And one day it just exploded and I bursted into tears kind of thing. And I needed to get it out to like save myself at that point. It helps, like I said, it helps to keep me sober because I can't create when I'm intoxicated. It's just not, I mean, like you can get ideas, but like actually putting your hands on things when you're intoxicated, it just does not work. It like comes out of this and it's just not fun. And it's like helped me, like, it's helped me heal areas of myself. Not saying that the wound or the scar is not still there, because it will always be there, but it's helped me heal those wounds, and by helping other people as well through like my messages and my stories. I think helping people helps me help myself or heal myself too.
Yeah, totally. All right, Eric, what do you got?
All right, so I'm going to be the one who will probably ask the more difficult questions on this one, but...
what the fuck does that mean? You literally just said David's going to ask you the easy question.
It's all a matter of interpretation, David. I mean, it's how you're taking it. But I'll let you be where you are. It's okay. So,
dick.
So, Brianna, you were in a program, and one of the things that is always interesting, I'm going to say it in kind of a way that, not everyone believes this, but David and I both know people who have left the program and, they're okay. It doesn't always work out that way. So, I'm curious as to what was the choice that you made that, where you decided that it was okay to leave the program? And what kind of, why did you leave the program, and what, safety, like what precautions I know the creativity, but what other precautions do you have in place to make sure you don't kind of like go back to like go backwards?
Yes. Okay. So the reason I left is I started hanging out with my old group of friends. Yeah, not my super old group of friends where I was like doing really bad stuff with, just like the friends I was hanging out with right before I got into program. I'm not talking about like the ones I was doing mess with, not those ones. And I was hanging out with them a lot, and they were drinking, and they drink, and they never pressured me or anything like that. It was not about that. I felt like I had control over it, and I was testing my waters. And this was about 4 years ago, I want to say.
Okay.
3 years ago. Yeah. And I was nervous when I just like started again. I like got the anxiety back and things like that, which wasn't fun at first. But the things I do to like help myself when I feel myself slipping, because I'm diagnosed with depression, and so that's a big thing. And like I don't take medication for it. I have been prescribed things, and I've chosen not to. After I worked in a pharmacy for 3 years, and I've grown to become really holistic in that sense.
Yeah.
So when I start to feel like the heaviness of depression or sadness or stress or anything, I focus on my art, and then I go out into nature a lot. I don't necessarily surround myself with people if I'm feeling down, because it's like you always feel like a burden in times when you're sad.
Yeah, no, totally.
So, and then I'll try to read self-help books. So that's another thing that's helped me. I went through really, really bad depression during my when I was in program, and then I started reading self-help books. And those actually really helped me get out of my bed and just get out slowly. It's like we get, I don't know, that heavy. We all know the heaviness.
Yeah.
And it's just like finding the baby steps on like getting out of it if we can, you know.
All right.
I think everything's the baby steps in general. I think once we start overwhelming ourselves with things, that's when it like backfires.
Yeah. All right. So that actually, like you sort of started talking about like what I was just about to ask you. I was going to ask you like what other tools do you use to help maintain your like progress and recovery? So, like what specific self-help books, because I have a couple like that I go to. I also love one thing that really like centers me in
you guys are breaking up. Sorry, you guys are breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Like one of the things I do as well, this is poetry, and I love poetry. So like what specific books really helped you?
Okay, well, there's The Power of Now that everyone knows about, by Eckhart Tolle, and then The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is another really good one.
That.
Yeah,
I've seen that book.
I recommend that one. It's really good. It's straightforward.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it gets to the dirty work. And then there's, the One Mind, which Larry Dowsey, and the 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. And then I have this other one. It's by Gloria Steinem. It's the Book of Self-Esteem Revolution from Within. The cover is very cheesy, but it's actually very well written. So those are a few.
Nice. Hey, I'm going to throw a recommendation your way. Have you ever read The Road Less Traveled?
No.
Check it out. The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck is very it was really profound in my recovery. And like he has a couple books, like he's an actual doctor, and like he was like a psychotherapist for a long time, and it was just really, really eye opening to me. So just a suggestion, take it if you want.
Awesome. Yes, I just wrote it down.
Awesome. Back to you, Eric, for your more difficult, sophisticated questions.
Thanks, David, for throwing it back this way. So let's talk about moderation. It's an uncomfortable subject for a lot of people. I think it's something that should be, and I mean, even I have to, I guess, be kind of walk on eggshells with this topic a little bit, but it is a form of recovery, and a lot of people forget that. But moderation is a form of recovery, and depending on your definition of recovery, a lot of things can be really considered recovery because it's based on our definition. So, in your way, and I do, you mentioned the self-help books, but what does your moderation program look like, right? Because, I mean, you mentioned that you drink, but, in like other programs, like especially in like programs related to sex or programs related to like overeating, you have to have like a bottom line, or like codependency. Like you have like a limit, right? And I feel like moderation management programs are very similar, where you are saying like, this is my limit. I can't go beyond this or else this happens, right? Like, so what in your program where you're now moderating, and being able to do this for 4 years shows that, it's working for you. And that's honestly all that really matters. So what is your bottom line with your moderation? And after that, what are the other things you do for yourself to help yourself, like spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, besides just the self-help books?
For the record, I had this question written down as well, Eric.
Do you want some validation, David?
Go ahead, Brianna.
Okay. Okay. So my moderation, after I first started drinking again, I started off really light. Like, I guess you could say, what are those? Ciders.
What is it?
From there,
what was that?
A cider.
Oh, ciders.
Like hard cider.
Okay, I thought you said.
Cider.
I'm like hungry, so I thought you said sliders. And okay, but go ahead.
Oh no, no. So ciders, and then it took me a minute to realize what my limit was, and I would say three beers, 3 drinks is my limit. I don't like going more after that. I can. I don't like to, and I hold myself to that. If I'm at home, it's a different story. If I'm out, kind of thing, I don't like to have more than 3 beers. And it's worked for me. I hold, before I used to just drink and drink and drink and not stop until I was like blacked out. And I say blackout, but it is blacking out because I would just like, it was more like a reel. Like you would just see visions or like pictures of things, and it would be gone, and then something else would happen. It was, I don't miss those times at all. Or like waking up and you're like, how did I get here? Like, I don't like that. It was not fun. But you were saying the other tools that I used to help me is I meditate when I go hiking. I try to be in nature as much as I can. Unfortunately, I'm not able to right now with the whole quarantine. They shut down all the trails in LA County, which is a bummer. But nature is a huge thing for me. I go hiking a lot, so it helps me clear my mind and just be able to, I guess, delve into my inner thoughts and everything like that. And sometimes it's not comfortable. I'm not going to say it's comfortable and it's easy, because I cry. There's times like I cry, and you kind of just have to deal with it. I mean, everyone has to deal with it, but it's more like, do we want to? You know.
Eric doesn't cry.
What?
Nope. Nope. Eric doesn't cry.
Not very not
very often.
Not very often. David.
When was the last time you cried, Eric? Yeah, silence. That's right. He doesn't even know.
I mean, I don't watch a commercial we've been over this. You're going to be that person walking down like the aisle and like you see like a Hallmark card and you just burst out into fucking tears. Like we've talked about this.
That is not true. I might shed one. I'm not going to burst. There's a difference between like a trickle and a burst. Like I'm not going to full on ugly cry in the Hallmark store. That's not going to happen.
You've cried.
I totally shed some tears from memes and things like that, or little stories.
Oh, that's no. David will do the same. I mean, there's moments where
I ugly cry.
There's moments on the podcast where we'll be hearing someone's story, and David will start to tear up over there. He'll start to, get a little sniffle.
Oh,
That's sweet.
I see. He's the mind, and I'm the soul. That's why this podcast works.
Yep.
That's kind of true. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's true. Well, he has a soul. I'll say the heart. Both have a little bit of soul. Okay. But yeah, no, like what you were saying, like crying on hikes. Yeah, I've done that before. When I was in Yosemite. You're just laughing at my tears on a hike?
Pretty much. I'm just kidding.
Good. No, but like not around here because I've seen these hikes a million times. But like when I was out in Yosemite and like you just get to a beautiful vista and you just see a view that, like you just don't see all the time.
No, stop. Are you literally fucking telling me right now you're crying at the beauty of nature? Is that what you're about to? Is that what you're about to say?
Have you not done that?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't done that.
I've never
looked upon a vista and been like, oh my god, the tears. Like, no.
Dude,
is that normal?
The beauty of nature.
I'm sorry. Is that a normal thing for people to do? Is that like?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, the stream and the waterbed and and do you not see like this lovely like array of
my wife is sitting in the room and I'm going to ask her, have you ever cried at the beauty of nature? Yes, she said yes.
She's just co-signing your bullshit, dude. Like there's like
she is not.
Like I'm sorry. I mean,
no. The first time I showed her the Milky Way in the middle of the night in the middle of the desert in California, dude. She cried. She had never seen that many stars in her life, and it made her cry.
Yeah, I just don't have.
I'm a witness.
That depth, I guess, guys. I mean, I don't know. I can't.
No, you don't. Son of a bitch.
Wow.
I totally cried in nature or for nature.
You haven't?
I have.
Thank you, Brianna.
I'm at a loss, guys. I just can't really.
I think you just are not on the right hike. You need to go to a different hike.
I don't.
Yes.
That, to be honest, there are certain things where I'm just
You're
like.
on the wrong hikes, my man.
Am I? There's never a time where I'm gonna be like, this part of the ocean. I think this is a cry. I think this is the time.
The ocean doesn't do it for me.
This mountain.
The ocean doesn't do it for me.
Not that mountain. That mountain isn't a cry, but this mountain. This is a good cry.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I don't think my brain.
I'm sure
my
when
brain
I see
doesn't.
see the northern lights for the first time, I'll cry.
When I see the northern lights for the first time, I will make sure that my camera is adjusted to the correct setting so that it picks it up. That is how my brain works. I'm like, all right, do I have my ISO right? Like, all right, what's my aperture? Like, all right, do I like this focal length? I don't know. Let's go a little wider. Like
You're
my
the
brain,
man, bro.
No,
You're the tin man.
I just, I don't.
You need to take the yellow brick road. Go find a heart from the man behind the fucking curtain, dude.
So
All
you're
right, moving on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Moving on.
Go ahead.
Moving on. Okay, so kind of expounding on one of Eric's previous questions. I wasn't sure which one. So when you decided to ultimately leave the program, did you get any backlash from that? Like, did you get any judgment or side eyes or even outright comments that were negative? And how did you deal with that negativity, knowing that you were doing what was right for you?
Surprisingly, I didn't get any negativity from it.
You're still laughing at me.
It's kind of. Sorry.
That's fine. I can hear it. You can just get it out. Just get it out.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Sorry. Okay.
It's fine.
So, no, I didn't really get any backlash from it. I had gone back in a few times after I left, and I was always really welcomed. And I know when everyone would just oh, glad to have you back. It's good to see you again. And how are you? I never got any negative feedback from it or anything, which I was a little nervous about. Not gonna lie, I thought I was going to, but I mean, it's interesting just because the place I would go to, it can be really cliquey and judgmental in some certain aspects, but when it comes to leaving and coming back, it seems like they're really understanding and aren't super judgmental and with comments and things like that. One of my best friends is still in program, and I still see them all the time, and they know that I drink and more just ask me if I'm okay, when things get rough, in life in general and stuff. So that's nice.
Yeah, good. There's the reason I asked that is because, and Eric will agree, I'm sure, that when we've had friends who have gone out, occasionally there's people who judge them,
yes.
Either openly or just talk behind their back and make really shitty fucking comments about oh, they don't want to, clearly they just want to fuck up their life or blah blah blah, just really negative, crappy shit. And I was just wondering if you had that same sort of experience, but I'm really glad that you didn't.
I mean, I may have, and I didn't know about it.
Oh yeah, if they're talking behind your back, you're not going to know about it.
Yeah, that might have happened, but I'm to my face or anything like that I know of, it did not.
Good. That's awesome. Back to you, Eric. You heartless bastard.
I'll see the wizard after this. It's fun. So
good.
I guess.
And I'll be the cowardly lion. I'll come get some courage with you.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned
I'm not wearing ruby slippers, though. Not again.
Yeah. I don't know. So I guess you're just going really far down this rabbit hole with that. So, Brianna,
really
with your parents being, alcoholics, and you've had issues in the past yourself. You mentioned that you have a child.
Yes.
Are you worried at all that, there might this is a genetic disorder and that could be passed on?
Yes.
And how do you deal with that?
Well, right now she's only 7, but I'm worried because my mom has other mental health problems that I believe they've gone undiagnosed for quite a while. And I luckily have only been, diagnosed with depression, but I don't know about how my daughter will be when she's older. I'm worried about that and things, but she's overall a very happy child. She didn't have the same lifestyle I grew up in. I was really abused and neglected, and she's everything like complete opposite. And so it does cross my mind and a lot, and it makes me not want to have any more children either because of that. Her father's side, yeah, as far as like, yeah, her grandfather passed away from alcoholism on her father's side. So it's definitely on both sides of the family, which is scary. But I know, like, with the path that I've walked down, that it'll be easier for me to talk to her when those things start to arise. And I'm also really open with talking to her, like, just in general with certain things. And she's only 7, but she's really understanding, and, like, she enjoys, like, having adult conversations when it's necessary. So I think just, like, being able to speak to her and still being her friend will make things easier when the time arises, especially because kids are getting into drugs and alcohol at such a younger age. I believe it's the best way I can just be her friend and not try to make her scared of me, because I don't want to be scared. I don't want her to be scared of me. I was terrified of my parents, so it's like, it's a really shitty feeling, you know?
Yeah.
So I just try to talk to her in a calm voice and just about life. I don't know. It's a scary thing, though. It's to pass down alcoholism into your child and things, and just addiction in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of want to like expound on, like, I want to expand on my last question a little bit. Like Eric was saying earlier, moderation is absolutely a form of recovery. So is maintenance treatment programs. So, like, my question is to you, like, how important is it for all different forms of recovery to really start recognizing that different things work for different people, and to be more open-minded and respectful within those groups and in between those groups, and really allowing people to do whatever really best suits their life and progresses their life and ultimately makes them happy and their life better?
Oh, it's definitely crucial. It's not everyone's the same. Nobody, like, we aren't wired the same. So we can't, not every program is going to work the same for us. It's just, I know in, like, the big book, it's like, oh, this is, like, how you got to do it. This is the way it's going to be. Otherwise, you're going to relapse, or you're going to be, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not that black and white. It's really not. It's like everyone's wired differently. We have certain triggers. And we all come from different backgrounds, and different things are going to work for each other, or different people. It's just like for anything. And it's like the era when the big book was written is very old school. So they just want to stick to it. And it's like, now that we're growing, or that we've, like, progressed in life in general, and just, like, more religions are becoming, I guess, recognized as being, like, into the community, as opposed to just being, like, Christianity or Catholic, and just, it's just, there's all these different religions. It's just, like, there's all these different backgrounds, and, like, certain things work for certain people. And it's not, like I said, it's not that black and white at all to be, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And it's like, no, because then people get overwhelmed, and they're going to be down on themselves if they're not going by the book. It's like, that's where they start to feel like a failure. And that's like, that's we're doing the opposite. It's, like, not what we want.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. All right, Eric.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. Don't keep going.
It's about that time, David.
It's about that time. Can I ask one more fun question?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So you've been a West Coaster your whole life, correct?
Yes, I've lived in Delaware. I lived in Delaware when my husband and I got married.
Oh, you lived in Delaware?
Yes, he was. We were both from out here. No, you're not kidding. It did. We lived on the Air Force Base there.
Okay.
I've pretty much been on the West Coast my entire life.
Okay. So, well, this is even more perfect for my my question. So, being experienced in both the West Coast and the East Coast, I have a two-part question. Which coast do you prefer? And also, what do you find weird about people from the East Coast?
Okay. Okay, so I prefer the West Coast because it's more sunny. And I really like the music scene out here.
Yep.
So I'm like, I love the music scene and like the rock festivals and things like that. And the weird thing about the East Coast is I feel like everyone's stuck in the 90s, like with their dress.
Whoa!
But that's also Delaware for you.
That is Delaware, 100%. We're in Maryland, so we're right next to and we 100% look down our noses at people in Delaware. For all our listeners in Delaware, we love you. Your state smells like a chicken farm. I'm sorry.
Right, dude? That's okay. First off, David, slow your roll.
First of all,
have you
that's true.
have you been to the Eastern Shore? Come on now. Our state, part of it smells like
yes.
a chicken farm. And
Part of it. That's not all of it.
I would say, personally, the Delaware beaches are far superior to the Maryland beaches. It's not even close.
Rehoboth Beach is the only beach I remember.
But you remembered it.
There you go.
You know?
Yes.
See,
So
that's a solid, memorable beach.
Yeah, it was like the Venice Beach out there for like our Venice Beach out here kind of thing. In a sense, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I mean, Ocean City's kind of gross. Can we be honest about that?
Yes.
Ocean City's gross.
Yes.
So there's good.
I'm not.
I haven't been to Ocean City, so I can't say.
You're not
please
missing
don't,
much.
Don't
Yeah.
don't go. Don't go. Don't go to Ocean City, Maryland.
Or Jersey. You don't have to go to either. It's
well, because we have an Ocean City out here, so I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, like why? Like how uncreative are fucking people that like? Oh, what are we name this city? Ocean City.
I wonder how many ocean cities are in
And then,
America.
It's like, Google that real quick.
Yeah.
I need an answer. I need an answer now. It's ridiculous, but I've never lived on the West Coast, but like every time I travel out there, I appreciate it. And the thing I would have to say is weird about you West Coasters is you guys walk so fucking slow. I don't get it. Like I'm a person, when I'm walking with a purpose. I'm trying to get somewhere. And on the sidewalks is full of these people that are just strolling around, probably high as fuck, in San Francisco. Get out of my fucking way. But San Francisco is different than LA, and I know that.
So judgmental, David.
So I was just kidding. There is no Ocean City in California, but there are 4 Ocean Cities.
Yeah, I saw 5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the United States?
Yeah.
There's only 5 Ocean Cities in the United States?
Yeah, there's one. The one I was getting confused with the one by San Diego. It's Ocean something. I don't know. But,
Huh. Interesting. You prefer Northern California or Southern California?
ooh, I would prefer Northern California, to be honest. But I'm from, SoCal. Oceanside is what I was getting confused with. My bad.
Oceanside. Okay.
Yeah.
And to any of our Americans listening, we love you all. And we cherish you. Except for Alaska, you're kind of weird, but thank you for the gas.
So judgmental. So judgmental, David.
No, I'm kidding. We love all of our listeners, especially our Canadians.
So
if you're Canadian and you're listening to this, I love you.
David.
I love Canada.
Yeah, you do
Canada
like
loves
Canada. Ever since I
love Canada.
Ever since I showed you Letterkenny, you've had quite an affinity. For Canada.
I've had an affinity. I've had an affinity for Canada ever since I visited Toronto. It's a fantastic city. It's beautiful.
Well, David, would you like to, do your thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast, around the world, latitudes and longitudes. It's time to go to the Twitter.
Woo. Good job, David.
I went big that time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is from The Message LLC, or as you know him, David, as Freddie.
Oh, nice.
And his question, and the way this works is, Brianna, you will answer the question first, and then David, and then myself. It's very topical. What plans are you making that will enhance your life once COVID-19 is over? What are you doing? And then secondly, what are you doing to not let this time be wasted?
Not let this time be weird?
Wasted.
Wasted, okay. So I'm honestly, my job is completely shut down like most of the people in the United States. So I'm honestly just trying to figure out a way to make money right now because I just bought a new car. So I've been making masks, and then I found a job, a second job, at Sprouts, which is a market.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've
I work at a dance studio. It's like a Circus du Soleil kind of studio.
Cool. Super
yeah,
cool.
It's pretty rad. Yeah, it's super rad. But so I've been trying to like stay in shape for that, as well as getting a second job to help me purchase apparatuses and things after this quarantine is done, so I can perform for events and stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do, so it doesn't go to waste either. I'm working on artwork as well, and I'm going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty busy still.
Awesome. What am I doing to make sure my time's not wasted? I was on quarantine for 3 weeks because my job shut down for a little while. And so during that time, it was really just about doing a lot of like small maintenance stuff around the house that needed to be done, that was overdue. Like nothing drastic, but like keeping myself busy, but like cleaning up. Like my wife and I, we've also been definitely doing probably the most spring cleaning we've ever done, and tried to minimize like a lot of shit. We've been getting rid of a lot of stuff, decluttering. So that's been good. Like, so that's a way to keep things, time not wasted. And also like our previous guest like said there's been like a lot of like family tension and shit like that. Being in such close quarters with the same people for so long. And I really haven't felt that. Like I've felt great with Kristen and I being here. Like we've been awesome. And what am I planning for after COVID? Really just reconnecting with people. Like nothing big or extraordinary or anything. Like I just want to see my friends and give them hugs and all that good stuff. And get back to quote unquote normal. Like I just want to feel like safe again and not so anxious when I'm out in public, because it like there's me personally, I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety through all this. I have way too many thoughts and emotions going through my head constantly about all this. And I want life to go back to a sense of peace. And like, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So, plans I'm making to enhance my life once COVID-19 is over. I mean, I'm already doing what I'm doing pretty much. I don't know what the world's going to look like when this is over.
gonna be round. It's gonna be blue in some parts, kind of green in others.
Yeah, I get that part, but I'm saying I don't know. So like, all right, so I'd like a trip to New Orleans for my my anniversary with my wife for our 2-year anniversary, and we had to cancel that. And it's like, that vacation would have enhanced our life. It would have made our life a little bit better. But I'm not going to make plans because I don't know when those plans are really going to be able to happen. So at the moment, I'm pretty much I'm making realistic plans. And
exactly.
I'm not, I'm pretty much, and a lot of that stuff I can do from home. Like a lot of it's art related. A lot of it's, a lot of it's just my projects that I work on. So it's not really, I have tons of lists and tons of Post-it notes and tons of ideas scribbled around everywhere. And it's just...
There's a lot of podcast stuff going on too.
There is, but that's not the only thing I work on. I work on, like, you've seen my, like, room and everything I do. There's a lot of stuff going on. So none of those plans are ever really, like, they would have been happening either way. The only difference is, like... the only plan is that my life is going to go back to normal. I thought my life was great before this, and I think my life is still pretty good, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Because, I was living life to the fullest before. So, if that's something I can still do without getting sick or getting others sick, then I'll go back to doing that. But I will adjust accordingly to make sure that I'm safe and I don't, risk other people being, getting sick. And what I'm doing not to let this time be wasted, I'm really fucking busy. So I don't.
Yeah, you are.
I don't really. My time is not wasted. Somehow I feel like it's a different busy. Than before, but I'm still busy. I'm blessed, I guess, in the way that like I still have like this, work. So it's just, it's a lot. It's just, we changed gears and it's digital now, and it's just a different, instead of traveling a lot, it's all digital, and it's a lot of calls and it's a lot of work online, and it's just doing that and then doing stuff for the podcast, and, also doing stuff, just other projects. I'm pretty much doing the exact...
I might cry when we get back in the studio together, Eric.
I know you will. I won't. I'll just say what's up and keep it moving, but I'm sure you'll shed a tear.
Just get a towel ready on your shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
There's gonna be some tears there, buddy.
What kind of art do you make?
Me?
Yes.
I mostly do collages, so I'm constantly. Okay. Yeah, I'm always looking through different various magazines and all sorts of shit. And something like I'll get cigar boxes and I'll do those, so they're kind of functional as well. So people can like not super functional, but like people can have them like near the table at their door, and like I use one for my keys. But a lot of them usually have like kind of a dark theme to them, because just like you said, like it's like a part of me that just needs to come out, and like it's sort of finding the different images that I can sort of hodgepodge together to evoke what I want it to in the final product. What about you, Eric?
What, my art?
Yeah.
So
you do all sorts of stuff, man.
I do a lot. So photography. So professionally, photography and video are, and some sound engineering. Those are like the professional outlets. But I also do those creatively. So more like passion. Music, definitely photography, more along the lines of urbex, landscape, and I want to start getting back into portraits, both professionally and for artistic sake. I have some cool ideas around portraits as far as output. So I have a bunch of ideas written down, but urbex is definitely my main art form with photography. For video, we have some projects that, like TV show ideas and short films and stuff like that I have in the works. It's just with the quarantine, it's kind of hard to get that stuff happening. And whenever you're looking at those types of productions, it's really hard to do it with just like a few people. So that makes it a little bit difficult. But then I also do, I guess, like mixed media. And, I have some projects essentially my room that I'm sitting in right now, like my old room was essentially an installation with all the vinyls. So, that's just to give everyone who's listening a kind of a visual. My room is the room I'm sitting in right now. It's a fairly big room, I guess. It's like 20 by 20 at least, maybe a little bit bigger. Oh,
but yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's bigger than that. It's covered, or it used to be covered. It's only half covered now. Floors, walls, ceilings with vinyls. There used to be no white space, so a lot of stuff like that.
And for any of the younger crowd that's listening, vinyl is records. They're the big things. They were black. You put a needle on them. They played music. That's what a vinyl is. For any of you Gen Zers out there.
But yeah, a lot of audiovisual. I'm very much audiovisual, and I would like to get back into more like mixed format. Because I think mixed format's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we would like to thank our guest, Brianna, for joining us this evening.
Woo! Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Total pleasure. Brianna, where can people find you and access your art?
I am on Instagram at sadgirlsylph. That's a SYLPH. So yeah, they can check it out there. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't really go on my Twitter account, to be honest.
That's fine.
But yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram, and I do answer messages if people have questions about, or just like want to talk about mental health in general or anything. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's like what my art's directed towards and whatnot.
Awesome. So. Cool. I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to see your art and possibly purchase it so you can be a professional artist.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Here at Podcast Recovery, we are aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. Accessibility and convenience of helpful services is paramount to combating addiction. We work to bring the message of recovery to every addict, wherever and whenever it is needed. We believe that a powerful voice of recovery should be obtainable, practical, and at the touch of a button. Every addict deserves to hear a message of hope, and Podcast Recovery is here to provide it. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our YouTube channel. For more information about Eric and I, go to podcastrecovery.com, where you can also find all of our fantastic episodes on iTunes and Google Play and all those fantastic app stores. But most importantly, everybody out there, stay safe and stay clean.